actually started AMS, it's been 8 years ago. Advanced Medical Strategies is a family-owned business. My brother and I own it together. And it's actually quite interesting how it came about. I had previously been a practicing physician in internal medicine up in Doylestown, Pennsylvania, which is a suburb outside of Philadelphia, and was looking to just do something else. And I left and I started to work for a company that did denial management and length of stay programs for hospitals. So we worked every day on behalf of the hospital to help them overturn basically their managed care denials, both on a concurrent basis. So while the patient was in the hospital, we worked with the case managers. They would call us to help review the cases, then speak with the medical directors of the plans and try and get those days overturned that had been previously denied to acute levels of care, skilled levels of care, etc. And then we also did that retrospectively, where we would do chart reviews on cases that we weren't able to do concurrently. So I did that for, I would say about 2 years or so, and in the course of doing that, I happened to, as so often happens in this business, come across a case. And there was a company, a managed general underwriter outside of Philadelphia, that was looking for somebody to review a case for them. They had a lot of concerns about medical necessity because the patient had been in the hospital for 432 days and the acute care side, and the claim was over $1 million, and they really felt that the medical necessity needed to be looked at. And I developed this reputation for specializing in these very difficult cases and sort of these extreme and bizarre, unusual, complex cases. So I ultimately reviewed the case. It took me about 6 weeks to do it since it was so long. And it turned out about half of that stay, more than half of that stay, was not medically necessary, and there was a lot of quality of care issues and some other things that we had brought to their attention. And they were very pleased with the result and were looking for additional assistance on some other things. But I didn't really understand the background of the stop loss business and that industry. It wasn't anything that I had ever really dealt with. The only thing I knew about a laser was a laser pointer at that point. So they were really great. They took me into their shop since they were local, and I sat with their claims department, their underwriting department, they had a medical management department, their pre-certification unit, all of these types of things, and really learned the business of stop loss, basically. And I thought this was really a great niche to be able to take a look at for folks, because if they needed this help, certainly other folks would also need this help. So I felt that this would really be a nice niche to be able to assist folks, because certainly if this company had this case, there were other companies out there that had that type of case. And it really obviously was mutually exclusive with what I was doing. And so I decided to take the risk and leave the company and start AMS. And that's really how we started. And so when we first began, we really were a company that did solely clinical reviews. So we did medical necessity reviews, we did experimental investigational reviews. We actually did a lot of disclosure reviews for folks looking at whether or not in these types of conditions could have popped up so suddenly after a renewal period, etc. And then from there, simply because of the space that we were working in, which was really at the MGU and carrier level, we would see catastrophic claims. And so along with the records, we would also get the bills. And so there would be cases where certainly the care that was given was medically necessary, or it was not experimental and everything was appropriate, but you were left with this extremely large claim, and what do you do with that? And so then a couple years into starting AMS, we really branched out into offering cost containment services for our clients so that they could have both the clinical and the financial piece. And I am a firm believer that you cannot separate the two, and I think that you cannot look at one without the other. So we felt that we really had a nice business model where we were able to offer both services to our clients within the same company. And that was 8 years ago. And so we've grown significantly since then. We do this for, I would say, about 150 companies internationally, and I love it. I enjoy what I do.